Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. So today is just going to be a very chatty podcast-like life update video. So we have had a lot going on the past 6 or so months. Wanted to fill you guys in because these are some really big changes and I have not had the opportunity or felt like I was able to talk about these things until now. So if you like listening to podcasts, this is going to be kind of your type of video. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and let's go ahead and get started with this update. So I actually already recorded this video last week and I ended up talking for way too long. The video was like an hour and I just felt like I gave way too many details, more than you guys probably need. So we'll try to keep it simple-ish, but it's still going to be a longish video. Also, if you hear background noise, there's construction going around in my neighborhood. They've got dozers and all of the things, but it's 24/7, so now's the time that I'm going to record this video. So, okay, where to begin? Over the last couple of years, I have been extremely unhappy at my job. Really, COVID, it changed a lot of things for the world and the workplace and the workers, and a lot of that was not for the better of some companies and some employees. So I've been really unhappy as a manager at TJ Maxx for the past couple of years. More specifically, the past year has been very challenging. The company made a lot of bad decisions that were not good for the people and the managers who work there specifically. They made some okay decisions for their, associates, but as far as management is concerned, they made some bad choices. Unfortunately, I don't know. But the past 6-ish months, I really started to kind of hone in on a job search, looking for another job. Because after 9 years with the company, I just felt like it was time for me to possibly move on. I kept waiting for things to get better, things to change, because the company had changed so much and not in a good way since I had started. And I kept waiting, for them to realize that and make some positive changes. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So the past 6 months, I had been looking for jobs and I had kind of decided that I was wanting to look into the healthcare field for a variety of reasons. But that was kind of what I decided I wanted to do. And long story short, this is my last week working in retail, hopefully ever. This is my last week working at TJ Maxx as a manager, and I start my new job at a local hospital next week. It is Monday through Friday. I will be working a set shift once I'm done with my training. It'll be 6 to 2:30, which is fantastic. I will not be working nights. I will not be working weekends. I will not be working major holidays. And I obviously have never had that in my 9 years of working at TJ Maxx. I work nights every week. I work basically every weekend, and much longer hours than I will be working at my new job. So I am just incredibly thrilled. So excited. I had interviewed for several positions. I had applied for a lot of positions and not even gotten a call back because I have no experience in the healthcare field. I had interviewed again for several jobs. It just wasn't the right fit. But when I went to do this interview in particular, it just felt right. And I just felt like these people are going to be my team. And I was very excited. They couldn't offer me the job at that specific time because they were still interviewing other applicants. They already had those interviews scheduled. But I just felt like we bonded and we connected really well. And it was just a few days later that I got the call with the job offer, and it was just an amazing feeling. I've got a lot of emotions about this whole situation. I'm extremely, extremely excited, but I am sad to leave my team at TJ Maxx since I've been with the company for 9 years. Actually, my 9-year anniversary was last Friday. Crazy to think about. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So that is one positive thing that has happened over the last 6 months. Unfortunately, we did have some other things going on during that same time. I'll try to keep this part short. The last 6 or so months, Josh and I had been trying for a second baby. I am not pregnant. I did not get pregnant. That was a whole journey in itself. The first couple of months, we were kind of like not trying, but like not trying, just being very aware that, you know, I could be pregnant or could get pregnant. And then the following months after that was like more looking at my ovulation, tracking my cycle, timing everything, and I was trying to plan everything out more specifically to where, like, if I got pregnant, I would have the baby in the spring or summer months so that I wouldn't, you know, potentially have to deal with like postpartum depression and seasonal depression at the same time. But it was not meant to be. And those 6 months were very hard. I'm okay. I'm really okay now. I really am, but let me tell you, when you are actively trying and everyone says, oh, that second baby just happens, like it just is quick, it just happens quick. And I heard that a lot from everybody. And Grayson's at the age where everyone is like, oh, when are you gonna have another one? Oh, you need a girl. Oh, you know. And I'm like, yeah, we're trying. We're trying right now. When you get that negative pregnancy test, or when you go to use the bathroom and you realize like you've started your period, it is heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. I cried several times, several months when I either got a negative pregnancy test or when I started my period, and just like overcome with like very, very mixed emotions. But we have kind of put trying on hold right now for a variety of reasons. One of them being that I am starting this new job. So everything has worked out the way it was meant to work out. It just didn't feel like that while we were in the thick of everything. So this was all meant to be. And I don't know what I believe. I'm not like a religious person. I don't know what I believe, but I do think everything kind of happens for a reason and everything will eventually work out. I think, yeah. So that was a very tough time. We have put trying on hold because of my new job and a couple of other things. So during this time, Grayson had started a new daycare roughly about 6 months ago. We had a rough transition into that daycare, but after that first couple of weeks, everything seemed to be going well. And then February happened, and basically out of nowhere, he was kicked out of the daycare he was at with basically no notice. There was like a week-long period where it was like, oh, you know, he had a couple of rough days, and then the next week early in the week, it was like, oh, you need to like correct this behavior or else like we're not going to be able to continue care. And we were blindsided, just completely came out of nowhere. There was not a lot of communication. But because of that situation, Josh and I had a lot of conversations about discipline, about parenting, about communication. We had a meeting with that daycare where a lot of things were brought up. I had a meeting with Grayson's pediatrician where a lot of things were discussed. Long story short, he potentially has ADHD, which is a whole thing in itself. But he ultimately that same week was kicked out of the daycare. I think it was a combination of things. His behavior was not what you would want your child to do. However, it was within, I think, like normal 3-year-old toddler boy kind of behavior patterns, developmentally, like kind of normal stuff. But I also think the daycare just didn't want to deal with it, and they didn't want to do the work to help him develop and help just help him. They didn't, it was too much work for them to do that. So ultimately he was kicked out, and as parents who both work full-time, we were immediately stressed, like, oh my God, like, we just, you know, you go from having full-time care to not having full-time care, and that's kind of a shocking and traumatic experience. But we'll kind of move on. Next, I had to kind of like go on the search for daycares for Grayson. After many phone calls, many messages, many voicemails, for about, we were without care for a whole month for Grayson. And almost every single place I called, he ended up being on a wait list. The place he ultimately got into is a church daycare. They were the only people who answered the phone when I actually called. So that felt good. They had come recommended to me from another mom in the area, and she had a similar experience. Her child had been kicked out of a facility, and he went to this new facility, and it's been wonderful ever since. They're very calm, loving, caring, and they'll work with you. So we toured it. Long story short, they were opening up a new classroom for his age group, so it just so happened to work out. We did have a month without care, but we were able to piece everything together between my days off during the week, Josh's mom working from home sometimes, my siblings, my mom, like people, you know, we just really pieced together days. So it was a very, very stressful time, but it did work out. Also during that time, I did get him screened, a behavioral screening through the local school system to, you know, really see what was going on, to see if he would qualify for like the early childhood special education program. So we had him screened. They did notice some ADHD indicators, and it's not a bad thing, guys. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. When I first heard that term and that he potentially has that, my heart kind of sunk. But really, it is just a way for us to understand him better and to understand how to help him cope and help us cope. And so he is going to get another screening through the local school system to see if he will qualify for early childhood special education. That is in progress right now. I'm waiting for a callback. It's like, you gotta wait like a month or so. But we'll cross that road when we get to it, if we get to it. And if we don't get to it, the school he's at now, they have been very lovely in working with him. Of course, we are not in the clear yet, and especially with a child who potentially has ADHD, it's going to be like an ongoing thing. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. And then while all of these things are happening, of course, the day that we ended up having to pick Grayson up early and him ultimately getting kicked out of his daycare was the day that I was signing my paperwork for my new job. So it was very, very scary, very stressful. We had also been going through a lot of like financial difficulties. I'm sure a lot of people are going through the same thing right now with inflation and the job market and everything right now. The world is a crazy place to live during this time. So we were going through a lot of things financially. We were having to make some big decisions, some scary decisions. I won't go into that right now. But we've learned a lot, we've grown a lot. The past 6 months have been some of the hardest of our entire life. Josh and I have been together almost 10 years, together like 9.5 years. We have a child together, we've lived together for a very long time, and we've gone through some stuff, but the past 6 months have been hard. So I just wanted to update you guys on that. But to end on a positive note, Josh saw a TikTok, as people do, and it just kind of spoke to him. We have both been Disney fans for a long time, me longer than him. But for those of you who don't know, we actually have a podcast together where we talk about all things Disney, the Disney parks, Disney movies, Disney Plus, Disney TV shows, Disney news, all of the things. We have a podcast together that we started less than a year ago, and it's been fun. It's been a really great bonding experience for us. But anyway, Josh saw a TikTok, and it was about Disney World planning and Disney vacation planning. So he kind of talks to me out of nowhere about this, and then, long story short, we're kind of planning a Disney vacation for this year, and we have decided to kind of throw caution to the wind. We're gonna go through our house and purge to hopefully be able to put all of that money towards our expenses for Disney, because Disney is not cheap. But we reached out to one of our friends who is actually a Disney travel agent. She's gonna help us plan everything. We are thinking about going in like September-ish. Josh and I's birthdays are both in September. We feel like Grayson is at a great age to go to Disney for the first time. He will be almost 4 when we hopefully take this trip. We are planning on driving, so it's going to be quite a long drive. But that's a very positive thing. I feel like we deserve this. We have not taken a vacation in many, many years, like somewhere special. And like I said, this would be Grayson's first trip to Disney, and we are a Disney family, so it just kind of came out of nowhere. But sometimes I just feel like you need something like this to look forward to. And to me, like, part of the planning and even just a little bit of research that I've gotten to do over the past week or so has just kind of lit a fire in me, and I'm just ready. So anyway, I'll probably do some Disney planning videos and talking more specifically about our potential trip. Nothing has been booked yet. I don't know what I'm trying to say. To book a Disney trip, you just have to have a $200 down payment, and then you can cancel at any time and get that back. We would want to pay for the trip in full before we went, because we don't want to deal with debt and all of that kind of stuff. So we are planning, like I said, on purging. We are going to be doing a garage sale coming up. We are going to be doing some more craft shows with our small business coming up. I'm actually going to be looking into that a little bit more today. Hopefully we're going to be able to generate enough of a little bit of a nest egg to pay for the trip in full, or most of the trip, through all of those things. So anyway, that's a lot. It's been a lot going on. There's a lot more that I could probably say about everything, but I feel like I've said enough. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I had recorded this previously, gave, quite a few too many details, and the video ended up being like an hour long. So I'm gonna leave that at that today. Overall, we have gone through the worst of it. I hope for us that is the hardest thing we have to go through for a while, because it rocked our world, rocked us. Very stressful, very hard. Now we are coming out on the other side. Like I said, I'm starting a new job, planning a trip to Disney. Grayson's at a new school. This is his second week at the new school. Overall, things are going well, but we're cautiously optimistic about that. no amount of planning and thinking about and stressing about things can change what ultimately will or will not happen at this new daycare. So I'm trying to not be super stressed about it, trying to think about positive things, trying to feed, you know, that positive vibe to Grayson, because he does, as most children do, kind of feed off of your energy. He loved being home that month period, so I mean, that was a great bonding experience for us, but it was a very stressful time. So anyway, I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you guys for listening. I know this was a lot. I didn't have like a script or anything. I don't have anything written down. So I'm kind of a little bit all over the place. But here is to looking forward to hopefully a bright, colorful, and happy future. Our lives are going to be completely different in the next few months, with me starting the new job, Grayson starting a new daycare, and us hopefully planning a Disney trip. Just excited to get into new routines, a new rhythm, and yeah, hopefully all good things. But I will obviously keep you guys updated, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.